Good morning, and thank you for all, because we are all psychologists. So thank you for your confidence with us. We represent different fields: clinical psychology, education psychology, organizational psychology, health and social psychology, and different institutions. The first, for today, the aims, it's essentially to present you some results in different groups. The impact of the principal psychological measures in the teachers and staff, in the children between 5 and 11 years old, and adolescent. For this evaluation, we use same methodology in each country: qualitative and quantitative assessment. In particular, for the quantitative studies, you use a longitudinal approach with different measures, each measure adapted for each country. You assess before and after learning the TM or quiet time program. And in general, you use the different time of 12 weeks, sometimes 1 week more, but in median 12 weeks. At the level of the dimension, you assess different dimensions. For example, in the group of the teachers and staff, we assess job satisfaction, anxiety, burnout, positive and negative effects, life satisfaction, motivation, vitality, stress, and psychological well-being. In the group of the children between 5 and 11 years old, strength difficulties in 2 different measures, and in the adolescent, resilience and anxiety.
I was hoping Sérgio forgot and continue my part of the presentation. Let me see how this works, okay? Like this, okay. So for teachers, we had a longitudinal sample with 218 teachers that were measured in 2 periods of time, before and after learning and practicing TM. They had a mean age of 46 years, minimum 22, and maximum 64. We had a great majority of women, comparing to 14% of men. And teachers came mainly from Portugal, and then UK and Italy in a similar way, and for the last, Belgium. These were the general results that we can show you as more objectively possible. As you can see, the green exemplifies that everything has results that are different from the starting point, and it goes in the way that we expected them to go. The general job satisfaction increased, emotional exhaustion, depersonalization decreased, personal accomplishment increased, intrinsic motivation increased, the perceived stress decreased, satisfaction with life, positive effects are better, and the balance is also better. Negative effects are less negative effects. The anxiety decreased, and the subjective well-being increased. We can show you more particularly less emotional hardening and more connection with others, and more feelings of competence and successful achievement in work. Also, we have less perceived stress and lower levels of trait anxiety for instance, I feel inadequate, these kind of feelings decreased in our sample. Also, we try to find a measure of subjective well-being that is found by adding up to the balance between positive and negative effects, the satisfaction with life, and we can see that there is a more positive evaluation of one's life. Here in Portugal, it's a matter of speaking. We can also say, because we measured psychological well-being in two of the dimensions, purpose in life on the left in blue and self-acceptance in green, you can see that both grow significantly. You can say that purpose in life is a sense of purpose and realization, and self-acceptance is a positive attitude toward the self, towards me, including good and bad qualities. And we can also see that subjective vitality increased significantly for those who practice TM. So now I'm passing on to Annet to present children's.
I will present you the part of the children, the total sample of the 5 till 11 years old is 167. We also had a T1 and a T2 moment for the meditation implementation. The average age is 8.23 and the gender is mostly females, 93 and 64 males, and 10 are not identified for some reason. Yeah. The Portuguese sample is 31 students, and 82 of Belgians, and 54 of Italian participants. We had the following questionnaires. From the strength and difficulty questionnaires, we have the emotional symptoms, the conduct problems, a sort of aggression problems, hyperactivity, peer relationship problems, and pro-social behavior, total difficulties, and the combination of that is internal symptoms and external symptoms. And we had the DESA Mini for small children, social and emotional learning. And as you can see, the emotional symptoms were going down, and that's the way we expected it. And also the conduct problems, so the problems with aggression or something like that, is also going down after 3 months of meditation, and also the hyperactivity. And so we can say the total difficulties, internal symptoms and external symptoms were going down. So that's the way we expected it. It's good results. To deepen in the analysis, we looked for the pro-social behavior, and we found that there's a lot of less selfish behavior among the students. This one is for the first it's higher selfish behavior, and the second is lower. And less disruptive behavior is also the same. T1 is the first before meditating. It was much higher than after meditating. So it's good results. Then for the older children from 12 to 11 years old, we have a total sample of 21 children from Belgium. The average age is 11 and a half, and the minimum age is 11 and the highest age is 13. 11 females and 10 males were partner. And they come from the French and the Flemish part of Belgium. There were less somatic problems, so they have less somatic problems and less anxiety. And they have increased resilience, so they can cope better with problems. Oh, and then I have to go for Italy. Give the floor to Chiara. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much for this conference, and for organizing all this. So I will present the data connected to the video that we have seen early on this morning. So I'm very excited to connect numbers to faces and children and teachers. So that's very inspiring for me. And then I will also present some data from the prison setting, which was one of the extension of the friends that happened in the past months. And we will see the video this afternoon, I think, related to that. So these are numbers, but there are also faces and people that confirm what I'm going to illustrate now. So basically what we did in school was to go into, thanks to the implementation team, to this huge school in Bolzano, and a total of 92 students of elementary school were enrolled for the project. Half of them were female and male. The mean age was 9 years, so they were in 4th and 5th grade, as we have seen from the video this morning. And basically we had 5 classes. 3 of them received the protocol of meditation, the quiet time, immediately, so from January basically to March. And other 2 classes that are the control group, so they were told that they would have received the meditation afterward, so from March to June. So they are the waiting list condition or the control condition. And this is basically what we did. So we have 3 assessment time, one in January for all the 5 classes, one in March, again with the 5 classes, and then another assessment just for the other 2 classes that received the meditation in the second run. And these basically are the results that are in line with the one that my colleagues just presented. So basically here we have the comparison between the group that received the meditation immediately, the 3 classes that are the blue ones, and the other 2 classes that were on waiting list condition. So it means that when it comes to emotional problems, the students that receive meditation decrease their emotional symptoms and also their problems with peers, with friends in school. And the other 2 classes had a different pattern, meaning that the school stress impacted on their emotional well-being, and they received no meditation, no intervention during those time. The same for other dimensions. So again, conduct problems, hyperactivity, and behavioral controls. So it's the same dimensions that my colleagues illustrated. So those who received the meditation immediately, they benefited from the meditation. And the other students in the waiting list or natural condition, you see that they presented problems probably connected to the stress in school and the stress of the school year. And finally, this is the total score of the questionnaire that, again, showed that the total difficulties of children decreased thanks to the meditation compared to the control condition. So basically, we can say that these are very promising results. This slide here shows the trend of the classes that were assessed 3 times. So the waiting list condition, after they received the meditation, you see the green bar, meaning that at the end of the school year, they maintained or improved even in some dimension, and like again, relational problems or hyperactivities or the total difficulties, meaning that also in those 2 classes that received the meditation in the second run, they benefited from it, okay? And they do not impair in terms of stress and difficulties during the school year, particularly in June, which we know it's a very tough moment of the school year because they are finishing the class, there are a lot of exam, tests, and so on. So also in that case, meditation was helping them to buffer those kind of anxiety. Okay, and this is basically the total sample. So we aggregated data and we measured the effect of the meditation in the 5 classes, so on the 92 students. And again, basically we have also in that case improvement in emotional problems, so they are doing better in emotional problem, in total difficulties, but also in somatization. So the same data that my colleague showed before me. So these are basically good very good and promising results. And the novelty of this research is basically that we applied the meditation in very young population, very young children, and this is not so frequent in the literature, scientific literature, and we also used a very rigid research design. So the waiting list condition, and then they receive the meditation. And this is a very important strength, at least by a research point of view. So these are very, very promising and good outcome of the Friends project. Okay, so I will conclude my, my presentation with the implementation in prison that we will see this afternoon. Again, also in this case, we have a few interventions with the meditation in the prison context, not especially in Italy, at least to my knowledge. What we know is that in this kind of setting, the meditation and positive effect on health, well-being, self-esteem, relationship, and also moral reasoning, as my colleagues was mentioning in the previous presentation. Some other research demonstrated a reduction in recidivism, criminal acts, psychological stress, anxiety, depression, and so on. As I said, there are not so many applications of meditation in prison, and we wanted to test if our protocol was applicable also in an Italian prison context. Importantly, we will see this afternoon that we applied the meditation in staff and prison officers, and also in inmates. And those inmates were those with a very long detention time. Okay, so inmates with a long time that they were inside the prison, and they expected to stay there for a very long time as well. Okay, so this is the sample. So a total of 32 individuals. Half of them was inmate, half of them was prison officers, and these are the socio-demographic characteristics. And we tested them with the same instruments that we used for teachers and for adults in the Friends project. So that's the reason why this is an extension of the Friends project. And we see here basically the same results that we obtained for teachers. Again, so this is the total sample. So over the 32 individuals that received meditation, we have a decrease in anxiety from pre-intervention to post-intervention, and decrease in stress, significant effect, but also an increase in positive affect, so increase in well-being, positive emotions that increase, and negative emotions that decrease. So the balance, the overall well-being increased after receiving the protocol of the TM. This is the result. These are the results that yes? Yeah, I think so. Yes, after 3. So the same format that we used for the protocol with the teachers in Friends. And here are the results on the inmate sample. So the people with severe stress, of course, because they are in prison since a long time and they are expected to stay there for a very long time. So you see here a huge decrease in anxiety, huge decrease in depression, and being a clinical psychologist, to me, this is a very promising result because depression in prison setting is very tough to address, so meditation was very helpful there. And the same improvement also in negative affect. So the overall well-being and symptoms do improve after receiving TM. And this is the same for the prison officers. Improvement in anxiety, so decrease in anxiety, improvement in emotional well-being, and also in life satisfaction. That are basically the same results that we obtained for teachers. So that's another confirmation of the protocol. Okay, so the conclusion of this implementation part in Italy is that a positive effect on TM in the prison context, especially for anxiety, depression, and well-being. And so we can conclude that the meditation is a promising and simple instrument to be used in the prison setting. And we will see in the video that participants really liked the project and benefited from that. Okay, I'm done, and I will...
Okay, now I'm getting a professional like this. So we also had a qualitative study conducted with teachers and staff. We conducted semi-structured interviews. It means that we used open questions to allow the respondents to disclose as much information as they wanted. And we evaluated 9 teachers along these 4 domains. In this case, perceived behaviors are indiscipline in their classes, environment learning, school atmosphere, and personal benefits that they retrieve from the Quiet Time program as individual, social, and professional benefits. Being really fast, on the first domain, the perceived behaviors, teachers spoke on an overall change, feeling better, saying that the silence in the classroom is higher, that observed a subjective well-being increase. Students, they see them as more relaxed and more quiet and ready to learn. And they started to better understand the teacher. These are quotes from the interviews. And the students are more focused. So they perceive overall increased achievements in perceived behaviors and a decrease in discipline. Also, in environmental learning, they can see that their students are more receptive, more autonomous, and now they finish their tasks in time and they work more harmoniously. So there is a better environment learning. School atmosphere. Teachers told us that initially that there was some resistance from other colleagues that were not involved in the program. This is not new, it happened before, and in Europe teachers said to us the same thing, but along the time it disappeared. And in the school atmosphere, they feel that there are less interpersonal conflicts and they are improving their abilities to deal with conflicts, which contributes to a good school atmosphere. So good climate, more acceptance and cohesion among colleagues. According to personal benefits, we can say that they refer an increase in subjective well-being. They feel more tolerant, inner peace, and more grateful. And they feel that they have more personal resources. As you can see, there's a long list of context units that were retrieved from the answers. But we can say, or we can transcribe the regulate my anxiety. People are calmer. I have more rationality in conflict management. So they feel that they have more resources to deal with the adversities in the environment. So I'm now passing to Annet to conclude. Thank you.
So I'm proud to present the summary key findings on behalf of the complete research team, and I thank you all for your cooperative work together and for the organization and the implementation group and the research group and well, overall. So the summary key findings are very positive. The transcendental meditation has a positive, significant effect in psychological dimensions with effects on well-being for children and adults. So we think it's a very good result, and especially adults report greater and better connection with others. So it's very important for schools, school teachers to have good connections with their pupils and the pupils with the peer pupils and the teachers. Increase sense of self-competence, increase sense in subjective well-being, and the children report less anxious and more resilience. So thank you all.
I forgot to read, and I'll put it back. It's the last one. That caused an impact yesterday, and we were saying that maybe you should read it. Before practicing TM, I was crying in a lot of mornings because I didn't want to come to school. Now, those days are distant, I'm calmer, so it's a good conclusion for what teachers told us. Okay, so thank you very much again.